Okay, so I've pretty much done all the ones on the edge pieces, and I've started going in on the thing. Now it's pretty much the same. The only difference is that you just have to draw the 1 centimetre line on, but I'm still getting a quite nice edge when using a ruler and pressing nice and hard and firm to get through, so I always have a nice straight edge. The only thing that is being a little bit of a disadvantage, and I think you can sort of see it with this one, is sometimes the edges are leaving the pen mark. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do to solve that problem, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. So I'll get back to you when I've done a lot of them, and I don't know how many I'm making, but a lot. So I've cut up a load of those strips. Some turned out better than others. One thing I did find is I went into a room that was slightly warmer than the room I'm currently in, and it made heck of a difference on how it cut. The colder it was in this room, that just a little bit colder, made it so much easier to do. The moment I went into somewhere slightly warm, it just kind of went floppy. And similar thing is, but we're trying to do it to the extreme for this next part. So what we're going to do is bending this into this shape, because obviously it's not flat. It sort of has two bends. It has a bend from this side to this side, so it curves that way, but it also has a bend going sort of from the bottom and then curves a bit at the top. It is a little bit of a hard bend to do, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So I've got a heat gun, but you can use a hairdryer if you have a hairdryer. Now I'll be honest, I can't remember which side you're meant to heat up. If you're meant to heat up the back or the front, but I think it was the back. It has been a while since I've done this, so okay. Now one thing I do remember is, like you can see here, this isn't how it's going to be at the end, but I remember from last time when I did this, I had to heat it, overbend it, and then let it cool. So I'm going to put a bit of tape across there. Now, while that's been holding that position, then what I'm going to do is going to just turn it over and I'm going to heat this edge, just so it's then wanting to naturally curve back to this shape in the future. Okay, so last time, I'll show you some pictures now, I actually put these in the freezer, but now looking back on it, I think that was just a very unnecessary thing I did, and I was just a bit too impatient to let it cool in the actual, and then obviously it's got to be reheated again anyway to do these parts when that's cooled. Now the back piece is just a simple curve. It's not even a deep curve, but it's got a bit of a curve on it. Actually, I think this has uncurved a bit over time. Same with this one actually. I think it did over time, even after I'd finished with it, slightly start going straighter than it was, because I think this is meant to be more bent than this currently is. So I'm actually going to bend this one a bit more than that, and what I'm actually going to do this time is I'm going to put the tape on it before I start heating it up. Okay, so now I'm going to leave that to cool for just a second. Okay guys, well, to my surprise, this foam is better to work with than the previous foam, and I don't need to overbend this foam. I put it in the position and let it cool, and it's actually staying in that position. It's not bending itself back like the other foam did. So I guess it depends on what foam you're using. I mean, to get it back into the a flatter shape, all I had to do was reheat the same area, and it naturally wanted to go back straight when it was heated up. But when it's cold, it just stays in the position that it you bent it to. But I'm going to let that completely cool before I do that bend, because what I want to talk about is the other pieces, like this piece that's on the bottom, the side pieces, even though that's not the incorrect side piece, and this piece. Now all of these are just a basic curve, and they're not a very thick curve either. I find the best thing to do is get a mug or something that's round, and then just heating the foam up, bending it round the cup, holding it, or even taping it round, leaving it to cool, and sometimes it might spring back depending what kind of foam it's got. But yeah, that's the easiest way. So that's my tip for bending all 6 pieces. Okay guys, now I'm having a bit of trouble forming this in 2 places, so I've got a bowl here which I'm going to try and use to get the shape I'm after. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I've never tried with a bowl. I've just got to stand here and hold it till it cools down now. Okay, so I'm in the middle of letting this cool at the minute, but I'm cooling it on my chest so it gets the right shape of my chest. So I realised there's no point in bending it to a shape if it's not going to fit me. So that should give me a nice curve as well, but I'm also trying to keep it roughly the right shape that it should be. But yeah, letting this cool, and it's very warm. Okay, so putting it over that bowl seemed to actually work really well. I did then do a few more bends that way and that way myself, heating it up, but the bowl gave it a nice like starting thing. And now if I can just show you all the angles, it has got that nice curved shape, a lot better than the curve that this ever had. So I'm making improvements upon what I had originally anyway, so this is going to turn out way better than the last one ever did. But I'm going to take a break for now because RWBY's come out and I'm just a bit tired. So I'll see you on when I've got some more progress. Okay, so now using all these that I did the other day, some better than others, I'm going to go round all the pieces that I need to. Now I'm going to start with my front piece because I think that's going to be the hardest. Okay, so this was actually a piece that didn't turn out very well, but it's big enough to do the curb at the top. Put some glue on the middle of this piece, just a little bit, not much. Find which way round I want it. I'm going to go with that way round, get it lined up and hold it there and just let that completely set. Like it only takes a few seconds to get the super glue. I'm going to run a bit all the way up to the top, and it's not, this piece isn't going over the corner. And there you go, that's that side done, and then simple, do the same on the other side. Like, I tend to roll it on in a way, because then you know that you're not leaving any gaps and you're getting it just in the right place. There we go, that is the first bit of it done. I'll cut off this excess bit and then that's where I'll start with my next piece, which I'll continue going round. And it's as simple as that. And that's what I'm going for, nice smooth edge. And I think the smoother I have my edges as well, the less likely it is to get damaged if it gets knocked or something. So yeah, that is how you do that bit. Really simple. Just putting them all around, filling in all the way around, and that is that step. One thing I'll just say is that I found helpful myself was actually lining the pieces up in order of height, so that you can get a rough idea for some of the ones that didn't necessarily work out and have a look through the spectrum. I mean, because I've used that piece at the top that was a spare bit and two fairly normal ones, I've managed to do it in 3 strips, and I've at the bottom I decided to cut the two so it went into a point still instead of going curvy, and then at the top is just like over the top. But yeah, that's looking pretty good actually. So now I'll go and do the same things for all the other pieces that I have already bent. Okay guys, so a little bit of an update. So what I've got done at the minute is I've got all of these bits surrounded with the bits of foam, and what I'm doing now is cutting off the side angles here, so that, like, I've numbered this piece number 2 and the other side piece number 2, so that they glue together. Now I'm not entirely sure what this angle is. I know it was written down on an old bit of paper, but I will put it on. I'll measure it now, and I'll put on screen what the angle is, so that you can cut to that angle. So what I'm doing is I'm getting a ruler and I'm holding the ruler level with the top of this. Now I want to cut a line that goes from that edge here to this line here, so it's like an angle. So holding the ruler there and holding this very tight, okay, and there we go. Look, there we have a cut line. Now I believe this line is actually going to be stuck to a flat piece, so we don't have to do an angle on the other one, if I've remembered right and done this right. But yeah, so that piece and that piece will glue together, then there'll be another cut here, and that glues to another piece that I'll have to bend to the right shape after these have been glued together. So that's why you don't bend it beforehand, because you don't know exactly what shape it. You know what shape it needs to be, but you don't know how much bent it needs to be. So that's why you don't do that straight away. Okay, so I've trimmed all these bits, and the angle on these, I don't know exactly what it is, but it seems to be around 25 degrees, and that's what I managed to get it to work out as. So it's 25 degrees cutting off from the top. But now I'm going to glue these together, but I'm not gluing these together with super glue, because that won't, in my opinion, be a strong enough bond. So what I'm going to be using is this, which is a extra strong glue, but it takes a lot longer to dry. So I'm doing it now in an evening so I can leave it to dry overnight. Now I don't actually want to put too much on of this, because I know it expands. So I also want. That's another reason though why I'm actually using it, is because it's an expanding glue. That means that these don't have to be perfectly flush to join together, because it expands and fills in the gap. Because holding them didn't seem to be working very well, I came up with this instead. I laid them flat, put some tape over both of them, then pushed them to against the chair so it's not going to move, and then put mugs just on the other side, just to hold them up in the position that they're meant to be. I'm just going to shove that one a little bit more actually, so then it's going to hold it in the right place while it dries. And yeah, that saves me holding it then, which is a lot better because I don't want to be holding that for however long, and it's tiring, and that I can just leave to dry overnight. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll see you in the morning.